So Ken, team selection, anything you can sort of reveal to us right now?
Yeah, will be one change. Todd Marshall will come in and Stephen Motlop has been released already. Will play tonight in the SANFL.
So just a little bit of a reshuffle there with the forward line and the sort of midfield mix?
Yeah, well, I think we've seen last week that we had some issues with some particularly last quarter where we weren't able to get the ball to ground as well as we'd like, and I think Todd certainly comes in and gives us a bit more height in that area and gives us a bit more of an aerial assistance.
What do you like from the way Toddy went about it since his action?
His whole game last week was really, really strong game at SANFL level. You don't get probably much better game for a tall forward than what Todd was delivering last week. So, his speed to collect the ball, his speed to get up the ground and help defend the ball, and his speed back to goal to obviously hit the scoreboard and assist other people hitting the scoreboard as well. Even though he kicked forward too, he was involved in other opportunities that we scored from.
Does his inclusion free up your options with maybe Justin Westhoff, who had to play maybe a little bit more as a forward in recent weeks?
Yeah, it certainly gives us that flexibility. There's no doubt about that. Whether we use Westies, more as a forward or more as a winger, which he's played most of last season at, gives us that freedom. But we also understand the team that we're coming up against. With their intercept markers, and they've got Hearn, Barras, McGovern, who are all good intercept markers. So we've got to make sure that we can try and keep them busy.
Do you have to put a directive on your forwards against coming up against these West Coast defenders? Just even more than usual, get some sort of fist, some sort of body at every single contest.
Yeah, we probably had. Unfortunately, we got a good lesson again last week in the last quarter with what it means to get the ball to ground, and we're coming up against probably the best intercept team in the competition this week. So, as disappointing as last week was, maybe it's a timely reminder for us, and hopefully we can go out there tomorrow evening and make sure the West Coast boys don't dominate the ball in the air.
Did you make a point of that to a few of your forwards watching that game back?
Yeah, all of our forwards, and all of our mids as well. It's not just the total forwards' responsibility; it's the ability to where we use the ball and give the ball sometimes too. So, but our forwards have an obligation to get the ball to ground when they're in a contest. We want them to mark the ball. We also want them to, if they can't mark the ball, at least get the ball to ground. Because I think when the ball hits the floor, we're quite dangerous.
For a while, Ken, Marshall's been sort of tipped as the next rock star. I know key forwards take a little bit of time, but are you sort of starting to see what you need to and what you're encouraged to by?
Yeah, well, I'd like to think with Todd, without using the word rock star, he's going to be a really consistent player at AFL level, in some shape in the next 10 years. It's just a matter of young forwards do take a while to get there, and Toddy's, as I said, I think his SANFL game last week was a really, really strong performance, and we expect that he'll come in and contribute and play something similar to that at AFL level over the next 10 years.
So what's the next step for him, do you think?
Consistency. That's it for Toddy. Is staying in the game for longer, and that's his challenge, because if he stays in the game for longer, he stays in the AFL team forever, and that's where we want him to be, and that's where he wants to be.
Sort of like is he more an up the ground, like a Nick Riewoldt, or is he more sort of a presence inside 50 crash packs? How do you see using him?
Oh no, he's more around his I suppose his agility as much for a big fella. He's really, really sharp at ground level. He's really good in the air, and he can finish. So he's got a lot of stuff that we like. But yeah, we probably think he's not necessarily the goal square forward, but he's a real challenging package for a lot of people.
Expecting a fair bit of rain in Perth tomorrow, between 10 and 20 mils. Is that going to be an issue given you've now got Marshall back in and Ryder, Westhoff might play a bit forward, a little bit? Is that going to be tough with the ball going to be on the ground a fair bit? Again, weather we don't know, do we? I mean, the prediction of early morning weather over there, by the time we get to the game, who knows what it's going to be. But, West Coast are a big side too. They've got plenty of tools on their side. Height and weather don't necessarily have to go hand in hand, I don't think, particularly for us with blokes like Todd and Westy you talked about, who are, pretty good running players, pretty good ground level players, and we're not that tall down the other end, so maybe it's an advantage to us because they'll have some big blokes up in their front half too. Was Jared Leonard a pretty close selection?
Yeah, really close. Yeah, absolutely, really close. Played a really strong game, second game back from a knee. His emergency can only be as close as that, can't you? He's your next man in almost as a defender when we look at what's going on.
You've had two really close losses. Possibly could have had 4 wins by now, but is there an overriding lesson in those losses?
Yeah, to play to the end and to play our way. I think that's really important for us, because last week in the game at times we went away from that bold, aggressive football that we want to play, and we didn't quite complete the task that we wanted to. And we've got to make sure that we own the direction that we want to move the ball and the way we want to move the ball, and put ourselves in a position to score freely, and not put us in a position to have 19 entries and not score very much in the last quarter like we showed.
How far away is Charlie at this stage?
Yeah, he's still a fair way away. Time frames are really difficult. I've said that before with his injury. We don't know. He's back running, and so we're hopeful. I asked Charlie, he would say 3 or 4 weeks. I'll ask the doctors, and we'll just say we'll just see what each step looks like, and we'll get excited when it gets close. And because we really did miss a presence that he does provide for us too last week.
Was there a bit of a miscalculation on the early season return for Charlie, or was it just the recovery?
No, it was just absolutely not. There was, our decision making with Charlie has always been based on how he's been at the time, and as we said about the injury, it's a significant injury that's a long time to come back from. If you don't get setbacks, Charlie would have been back and playing by now, which is what we initially thought. He's had a couple little setbacks along the way, so that's why he's not back playing.
And have you spoken, given the nature of the injury? Sorry, how's Jack? We heard him speak.
Yeah, Jack's had some more surgery yesterday actually to just tidy up the remaining part of his injury, and he's really positive. He's see him around the club. Jack is who Jack is. He's quite positive type of person, so he's he'll do his rehab as well as he needs to and be back as soon as he possibly can.
So it's probably unlikely Jack plays this year, and with Charlie more like second half of the season.
Time frames are really difficult, and I don't like putting them out there. So I'm not going to buy it. Jack, I can answer the Jack one. I said it would be a big recovery if he got back and played football this year. He's the one who's telling me that he'll be back this year, so we'll let him have a crack at it and see where it ends up.
How many years of medical study
There's Jack had. Yeah, he had a fair few, I think. Certainly had a little crash course on it recently.
That second surgery was all part of the plan?
Yeah, that was all factored in. And the initial injury, it was always going to be a couple of weeks after that he would just go back and just tidy up a little bit more on his ankle.
On selection, we all posted that Stephen Motlop had been dropped last night, and a lot of the people saying, well, where's Jack Trengove coming in? We ask you every week, but what do you say to those people? Can you sort of clear up the situation at all? With Jack Trengove?
Oh, yeah, no, Jack's in good form, like Jared Leonard. There's plenty of people who have been playing. Aidan Johnson, who's emergency as well, and Trent McKenzie, Matthew Broadbent, they're all in pretty consistent form underneath, and they've just got to continue to stay in that space. We've got Jack's predominantly an inside mid. And our inside mid numbers are looking okay. So we're just saying to all our players who play underneath, just keep doing your job and performing as well as you possibly can, and then opportunities will arise.
What can you say on Motlop?
Sorry?
What can you say on...
Stephen is exactly what we released last night. He just hasn't been as good as he would like to be, and we need him to be. And we think sometimes you're better off to put a circuit breaker in there instead of trying to find a way out of a hole. And for Stevie, he'll go back and he'll play well tonight, and he won't be out of the team for long.
What do you want to see from Stevie most? That was the number one priority.
It's as simple. I know what Stephen Motlop looks like when he's playing his best. He's winning and running with the ball, and that's what we want to see from Stephen. He's involved with other people getting good touches too. He's a creative player, and that's what Stephen brings to our team.
Is it difficult to assess, sorry Max, a player's form like because he's such an impact player? Only had 7 touches, but it's all about what he does with it. So is it more harder to assess someone's like that's form?
No, not so much, but you do get used to seeing people who are, as you described him, as an impact player, and they don't need many touches sometimes to have a massive impact, and that's what Stephen is like for us. But there's also games where they have a lot of ball, so we base it on their outcome of the game and how well they've played and contribute to the team.
We've seen Mate's pretty unlucky this week.
Another one. Yeah, there's another one. We've got some good solid form underneath in the Magpies. The Magpies played a really strong game last week, but back to one of the questions earlier. Could be, should be, would be, in a pretty healthy position ourselves. But we just got to make sure that we play well week in, week out, and we play a style that we're committed to.
Have you had a chat with some of your younger players this week? Obviously, you've backed him by keeping him in the team. But, Zach Butters is probably one. Don't want to single out players, but some of his disposal against Richmond probably wasn't ideal. Have you had to have a chat with a couple of them?
Look, that's our job as coaches to educate young people, whether it be Zach or Connor or Willem Drew or Todd Marshall. That I consider them all quite Sam Powell-Pepper. I consider them all quite young players, and that they often need some education and some words of advice and some encouragement. And sometimes the greatest thing you can give them is encouragement. And I'm going to encourage these boys to keep attacking the game.
Is West Coast still the clear benchmark, Ken?
They appear to be, and we've had some great games with them in our most recent history, and unfortunately we've been on the wrong end of some really tough losses. But we go over there with an opportunity to take them on again and challenge them, and we put ourselves in the same position to this time hopefully get over the line at the end of the game and make sure we're in front. So yeah, it's an exciting game for us.
Haven't had more luck at that ground. Is it a difficult ground to play, or is it just difficult?
We've only played there twice, I think. So yeah, we unfortunately lost a couple of players in a game against Freo there, and then last year over there, West Coast got away to a flyer. We come charging back at them. You know, at 3/4 time, we felt like we had them in a really, really dangerous spot. You know, and they found a way to win, which they've done to us a couple of times.
We've seen a lot of those boards on the sidelines holding up during the game so far. Is there anything different you have to have for West Coast, given your last 30 seconds against them in recent times?
Get it right. No, there's not too much. We're well planned in those spaces, but you know we understand that you win some tight games, you lose some tight games. It's just what football's about. Execution in the most critical moments.
What do you do in the coach's box if they have a set shot to win after the start?
I just go down. I just go down to the ground and expect that they're going to kick it through the middle, to be honest, because even McGovern's kick last year looked like a floater off the boot and it just found a way to get through. We don't want to be in that position. We want to be 2 goals up at the last centre bounce.
Can I just ask you, like, good Friday footy?
Yeah, well, we're honoured as a football club to be involved in it, you know, and to be over in Perth to play the first game over there. It's a great honour, as is Anzac Day for us as a football club. They're things that we cherish and we want to be a part of.
Oh, Kenny, you would have seen a bit of the number 18 at the other club. Plays his 300th on Sunday. Just a little word about Eddie Betts and the way he's been able to torment.
You are trying to torment me today. We're talking about West Coast and Eddie Betts. Eddie's great for the game. I just love watching him play, except when we play him. And sure, I wish him all the best. He's been a fantastic player for the competition for this great game of ours. So, one of the great Indigenous players ever to play the game.